Hello and welcome to Jewish Online Magazine. My name is David Barry and my special guest is Denise Phillips, professional chef and the UK's leading Jewish cookery writer. She writes for the Jewish News and Jewish Chronicle and is a frequent broadcaster on radio and TV. Firstly, I congratulated and wished Denise mazaltov on her new book, The Gourmet Jewish Cookbook, which has more than 200 inspiring recipes from around the world, drawing on the unparalleled richness of Jewish cuisine and history. The book is published by the Robson Press.
Thank you very much. This is number five, my fifth cookbook. I think every time a new book gets published, an air of excitement when it arrives through the post and you think, did I really do this? Have I written all those recipes? So thank you very much.
And thank you for joining Jewish Online Magazine as well. Can I begin by asking you, Denise, how much energy, experimentation and research goes into each recipe?
Well, every single recipe is different. The inspiration could come from maybe a new ingredient, or a new cookery class that I've got to write with a particular theme, or perhaps there's a Yom Tovim coming up. I know every Rosh Hashanah I have to write new recipes. I have to write something with apples. I have to write something with pomegranates. So it's a twist, a turn. And then where do you get the energy from? Well, it's like anything. You like to experiment. So one recipe may take 2 or 3 times. Others will become just the first time you just write it. Or you'll use an old favourite and you'll twist some ingredients and get something completely different. So it's a good question, but each one will vary.
What was behind introducing each recipe with an introduction background?
It just makes it more interesting. I mean, if you have a little bit of information about either the ingredients or the historic side. So, for example, the tagine recipe will talk about the Jews of Morocco. The chicken paella recipe talks about the Jews of Spain. So the recipe has a bit more meaning. And then I talk about maybe the symbolism of particular ingredients. So, for example, Rosh Hashanah is around the corner. We often have carrots. But why do we have carrots? We have the carrot and apple soup recipe. Well, the Yiddish word for carrots is mirim, and what it essentially means, it means abundance, plentiful. But when you cut a carrot long ways, it looks like a disc, which means it's coins. So not only do we want a fruitful and healthy Jewish New Year, but we also want a prosperous one.
You described that Jewish cookery is arguably the first example of fusion food. Can you expand upon this?
Yes, this is a wonderful question, because fusion is essentially East meets West. So what we're talking about is maybe the Jews have really travelled, often through persecution or because they just fled for different reasons, and what they've taken with them is the ideas. And so a good example is maybe the borscht that they had in Russia and transformed it into this country, and it's a real superfood. But we've now embellished this borscht with apples and red cabbage and stock. And then if we really look at the essence of what fusion, so we're talking about maybe Western size and Eastern. So maybe example of a hameen, which as I say has got double meaning here. We're talking about Shabbos over at the Orient, but it's chicken with paprika and saffron and cumin and coriander, and here we are making this dish here in this country because we can now get those ingredients. So it's a fusion of all those really magical, colourful, flavoursome ingredients all together.
Thank you for that answer, Denise. The layout of the book is a very user-friendly fashion, isn't it?
Well, I think so. I say once you've written 1 or 2 books, and say I have now, you really know what you think is what the buyer wants, what the cook wants, and what the publisher wants, quite frankly. You want books that sell. And a book that sells is a book that is user-friendly. With there's 3 indexes. There's a general index, there's a Parav index, and there's a Pesach index. So if you're looking for a Pesach dessert, you can find it immediately. In addition, the way the ingredients are set out, they are grouped together. They are according to instruction number 1. So if you are adding the onions, garlic, cinnamon, or whatever it may be, that will be grouped together. And then instruction number 2, there's a little it's this little Star of David actually, and then they're grouped together. So again, it's visually can be seen what you need to do with which particular ingredients.
And this is what sets the book apart, doesn't it, Denise?
Well, it does, but also the way the modern approach, so that it's the chapters setting the scene, chapter 1. And then we're talking about dining in and eating out. So we're bringing those restaurant-style recipes.
Why did you introduce that chapter into your book, Denise? Eating in is the new dining out.
Because we are really very well blessed with so many kosher restaurants out there, and I think the ambitious cook wants to recreate it at home. As wonderful as those restaurants are, there's no way that you can eat out at those prices, and forgive me, they are fantastic and they do a brilliant job, but we want to do it at home on our own dinner parties. Wouldn't it be nice to have those simple Indian cuisine back at home, or a Chinese feast at home with the ingredients that we can now readily get, because our kosher supermarkets and our regular supermarkets have all those now available, which they never used to do.
There's a chapter in your book called Free From. Can you tell viewers of this video about this concept?
Well, in the supermarkets now, there is a free from section, and what essentially it means for the diabetics, the gluten-free, the vegetarians, the vegans, quite frankly, specialist diets. And the way we are of fashion today, and so many people are allergic, they're overweight, or they have allergies or intolerances, and so I've created that chapter especially for them.
And in your book, Denise, why do you recommend reading the whole recipe before starting to cook?
Well, when I read a recipe, the whole essence of it visually comes into my mind, and you can only get how it's going to look because I complete the recipe by how it's even supposed to be served. You can understand what you're going to get at the end, and if you don't read it through, you may find, oh, where did I have to add that ingredient, or how should it look, or what should I do at stage 3, or more important, what can I do now and what can I do in 2 hours time, because we're all busy people. So if we can plan ahead, work ahead and work in stages, we'll get a lot more done, and you're going to understand and create the recipe how it intended to be.
And also, Denise, you mentioned that the opening dish of the meal sets the scene and the mood of the meal. Why?
Because if you have a really heavy starter, there's no way that your guests or your family members can do justice to the main course and the dessert if you've got a very heavy main course and a very heavy dessert. So, but setting the scene is other things too. Is it a style of cooking? Is it Chinese? Is it Japanese? Is it Greek? Is it Italian? Wouldn't it be nice to have Italian all the way through, or Greek all the way through, a Mediterranean style? Or if it is Yom Tov, why not have all the foods that are symbolic together, because it makes it more meaningful. So it does set the scene. And, you know, if you have got something in season, far better to eat in season than trying to get ingredients that are not, because they're going to be far more flavoursome and colourful.
Actually, Denise, you've anticipated my next question, but I'll ask it anyway. When you kindly gave me your book to peruse, I immediately turned to chapter 6, and finally something sweet. My favourite. In our household, we never reach the desserts, and for me it's the best part of the meal. What recommendations do you have to reach the final course?
Well, I say a balanced meal, quite frankly. Perhaps a smaller starter, or even not bothering with starters. Maybe just a few little canapes. Or even, you know, depending what the occasion is. Is it just a family meal, every weekday meal? Then maybe just some carrots and hummus and something healthy there, and you know, a middle-sized main course, and then you've got room for dessert.
In your book, there are many recipes that one won't find in a traditional kosher cookbook. And in your new book, there are dishes that you would expect to find in a kosher cookbook. And that seems the recipe for success.
Well, I think you've got to please everybody. It is a Jewish cookbook, and I'm very, very proud of my Jewish heritage. And this is what I feel that to keep everybody happy, because you don't have to be Jewish to enjoy Jewish cooking. And if you think about what Jewish cooking, it is anything, provided it fits with what is kosher. So there's no reason why you can't have a sushi dish. There's no reason why you can't have a pie of some sort, or a tagine, or a Greek dish, a spanakopita, or whatever it may be, or a biscotti, which are Italian. We can all eat those things. It's just a matter of us making that choice where we buy the ingredients so it fits in with what is kosher.
And do you find that chefs and cooks that may have not looked into Jewish cookbooks previously are beginning to do that now?
Well, as I say, it is a very exciting genre of cooking, a style of cooking, because we can eat everything that they can, provided, say, it fits in with kosher. So be creative, what you're. How many chefs do enjoy eating traditional chicken soup, Jerusalem kugel, lokshen pudding, or whatever it may be, but serve it the stylish way. Individual ones, maybe little apricot lokshen pudding is in there. So what I'm saying is, with the enthusiasm for cooking generally on TV, cookbooks, it's got a real fashionable air to it. And I just think that this cookbook captures all those elements.
And for the busy household, you also include recipes that can be prepared and cooked in quick time. Do you think this is becoming a more popular option? And can quick meals be filling and nutritious?
Yes, yes, yes. Firstly, I think we've got to think about it every day. You are personally responsible, whoever's cooking, to keep your family healthy. 5 a day, all the fruit and vegetables, if you don't give it to them, they aren't going to eat it. My, always been the belief that, well, there's plenty of fussy eaters in every single family household, but unless they're allergic to it, I'm afraid it goes in one ear and out the other. They'll try it again. Oh, this is nice, what is this? Because you camouflaged it or created a different taste. So, yes, ready in 30 minutes is extremely important. There's no way a takeaway or a pre-packed meal is going to have anywhere near the nutritional content that a homemade cook, even if it's something really, a soup, it's still going to have additives, it's still going to have seasoning of some sort, which is too much salt. Whatever element it is, you can use 3 or 4 ingredients and get something very nutritious and very healthy, and apart from that, it's stylish as well.
And for whiskey lovers, there's also a recipe for whiskey chicken in your book. Can I ask you, how does alcohol enhance the cooking process?
Well, it gives it the really good flavour. If you're a whiskey lover, and Jews do love whiskey, that is for sure. You don't have to be Scottish to enjoy that either. But yes, it kind of gives it a really nice flavour. It fuses into the chicken as it cooks. And if you look through my cookbook, I do use a lot of alcohol in it because it cooks off the alcohol content, so it just has the flavour rather than the alcohol content itself.
And you also have a glossary at the book of. You also have a glossary at the back of the book, and that's a great idea, isn't it, Denise?
Well, a lot of cookbooks do have that, but as I say, not everyone understands every single of all the words that I've used. I've used a few words of Yiddish, a few words from the Torah. I want to make it, as I say, as easy as friendly for all levels of Judaism and for people that are not Jewish as well.
It's great that your book has recipes for making one's own bread. Do you think people are making their own bread more and more, especially maybe for Shabbat and Chagim?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, anything is easy when you know how. And in my cookery classes, of course, I teach cookery skills and different techniques. And I personally love to make my own bread. I've got, as we discussed earlier, I've got some challah already rising. But you can be so creative with your bread with different flavouring, whether you want to put sun-dried tomato in it, or nuts, or cinnamon, or black pepper. You've got a basic dough, and you flavour it accordingly. So I would like to think so. There's bread makers out there. They're extremely expensive, but you can make basic bread with just a bowl, a dough hook and a mixer.
When I showed my youngest son your new cookbook, his immediate comments were how light it was, but how heavy and impressive it was in appearance. do you think it's important to ensure cookbooks are light in weight?
If you're going to be holding the book, I think you've got to be able to open it and it's not going to be too heavy in your kitchen or take up too much space. I think this has got the sort of the practical size and shape that you can actually see it. The weight, well, that's also good use for postage. I will agree with that, especially if I'm sending books abroad or just posting them to people that have ordered them. But as I say, you don't want it so small that you can't see the print as well, because that is all what it's about. You've got to be able to see it easily without struggling to understand or read what the content.
And Lady Elaine Sachs makes a great comment about your book, doesn't she?
Yes, yes, she does. Lady Elaine Sachs did do a review for me and was absolutely delighted. And she said, the detailed descriptions make it hard to go wrong, as well as adding intriguing local interest. And that captures it in a nutshell, that here I am using lots of different ingredients, but giving it meaning with the history and culture of where the Jews have travelled and the elements of interest to the reader.
And Denise, can I ask you, what's your favourite Friday night meal?
Well, I do love chicken soup, but as an option, instead of having chopped liver, what I do like is my smoked salmon pate, because I think it's quicker and it's healthier as well. It's fresh salmon and smoked salmon, and I use the non-dairy cream cheese, the Tafuti cream cheese, and just whiz it together with a little fresh dill and lemon juice, and it's done much quicker than chopped liver, and I say it's a lot healthier as well. Chicken dish of some sort is really good, because I know the family all love it, but it depends how many people I've got round the table. If I've got a house full, then it's probably going to be a stuffed turkey, because that will feed 15 plus, or it's just that, a few of us. I mean, this Friday night my kids are all away, so I think it's just my mother and some friends, so it's smaller. We might be able to have a roast beef dinner because there's less of us. So, but it's an opportunity to cook and to spend time with the family, for me to experiment, because they're all my guinea pigs.
And do you have time to cook during the week, Denise?
I cook every day, like everybody. You got to eat, you got to cook, and it doesn't come out the packet.
And are you a fan of sitting down with the family, or perhaps TV dinners?
Never. Never. We don't even have TV on at the mealtime. It's one of those elements of family bringing up. We sit down to dinner as a family and the TV goes off.
Do you think that perhaps today that is lacking in maybe?
Yes. It's a time when we sit and chat together. It may be half an hour, it may be a quick 10 minutes because one of the kids are running off, if we do all sit together. But last night, and there was the three of us, my middle daughter was around, the other two are now away on holiday. TV goes off and we sit and talk about the day like any other family.
And it's great your new book has got vegetarian options as well.
Well, I think so. It's an option that a lot of people are wanting, that part of cuisine. It also means, well, there is a Jewish vegetarian society as well. People are very conscious of their health, and we have a responsibility to have as many vegetables in our diet anyway. You don't have to be vegetarian to have a vegetarian meal. And some of the recipes which are parav one, which is excellent, because if you've got a meat meal, you can have a veggie option that's parav, which you can still eat together as a family.
There are some amazing colour photographs in your cookbook, Denise.
I'll show you some of the good ones. Yeah, we look at 3 of those. Yes.
Is it important to present the dish in a colourful way and in a presentable way?
Yes, absolutely. I think it brings it to life. If you can see what it's supposed to look like, there's a more chance of that recipe being cooked 3-4 times than any other recipe. And it gives you guidance of what it's going to appear to, or if you want to present it, say all my recipes at the end are served stylish way. Let's see what it looks like. Can I recreate it looking like the photograph? And hopefully yes.
And the Gourmet Jewish Cookbook, is that your 5th book, Denise?
Yes, it is.
And it would make a great book for engagements or bar mitzvahs or special birthdays or anniversaries, wouldn't it? I
think so. I think especially on a bat mitzvah or a wedding present engagements, It's £25. I think it's within price range that one would spend that kind of money, or even, to be honest, you know, for the Jewish holidays, wherever it be, or going somewhere for sukkahs, you want to take a bottle of a decent bottle of wine is going to be that kind of price as well, and this will last longer than that.
And finally, Denise, can you tell viewers of this video where the Gourmet Jewish Cookbook can be purchased?
Well, if they want it personally signed, they have to come to me, www.jewishcookery.com, give me a call or email me, but it will be at the bookshops and the Jewish supermarket. So we're looking at the regular bookshops, W.H. Smith's, Waterson's and shops like that, as well as the Golders Green and Hendon bookshops too.
And finally, Denise, the Gourmet Jewish Cookbook will certainly inspire people, if they haven't already started maybe cooking. This will perhaps give them a great start to start cooking for themselves and for their family and friends.
I'd like to think so. This is, if they haven't got any of my other cookbooks, hopefully they'll buy this one. And I think the people know that I run a cookery school, so if they want to know a bit more or they're real passionate about cooking, they will come to classes to be personally taught.
Denise Phillips, professional chef and the UK's leading cookery writer, thank you for joining Jewish Online Magazine.